I was born in Providence. I was married 27 years. I have 2 children, and I have 5 incredible grandchildren. I worked for a local bank. It was a good job. I loved it. I can't tell you where it really fell apart. My name is Lori, and I'm a pathological gambler. First time I went, I'm halfway through a roll of quarters, I hit this little mini jackpot for like $250. Well, I thought this was wonderful.
The worst thing that ever happened to me was that I actually won some money. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to replicate the feeling that I had winning 400.
Often people start playing out of a genuine desire to win. It's thrilling, it's exciting, it gives you a kind of little spike in energy. However, once you interact with these machines, the dynamic changes. And what you get out of these machines is not necessarily the excitement and thrill of winning, but the kind of pleasure of being in this rhythmic zone.
It was a trance that came over me when I sat at a machine.
When you sit in front of that machine, you feel nothing. It's like you are the walking dead. You go through all the motions of living, but you're not really living because you are always channeled, super tunnel vision, to get back to that machine.
I had a lady, who was my roommate in treatment. She discovered Depends and she's only 25, started to wear Depends to go to the casino so she didn't have to get up from the slot machines.
When you're sitting in front of that machine, you're intoxicated. You haven't taken a pill, you haven't taken a drink, you haven't put something in your veins, but that doesn't mean that your brain chemistry hasn't changed.
In 2001, Dr. Hans Breiter and his colleagues at Mass General conducted an experiment comparing the brains of a cocaine addict receiving a dose of cocaine and a healthy control subject playing a game of chance.
You looked at the activation in the primary reward system in the center of the human brain when they were a cocaine addict expecting a cocaine infusion out versus a normal control expecting a monetary win. We saw the same thing. They were nearly identical. And I could not distinguish who had received cocaine versus who had won a gambling task.
The U.S. National Gambling Impact Study Commission calls these electronic gambling machines the crack cocaine of creating new addicted gamblers.
For me, they were almost instantly addictive. It didn't take a lot for me to cross the line, and I did not realize it.
The more they play the game, the greater likelihood from a statistical standpoint that they're going to lose more money and that they will make a profit for the casino.
Industry members talk about how to keep people playing the machines longer, faster, and more intensively. And the way they speak about their aim is an aim of player extinction. In other words, keeping the player there until their budget is thoroughly exhausted, so until they really zero that person out.
The insurance policies, my 401k, it all went into the machines. I know one night in particular where I had 18 $100 bills from the payouts. And by the time I left there, I didn't have enough money to buy a Dunkin' Donuts coffee on the way home.
It could run to thousands of dollars a week. It could run to thousands of dollars a day in losses.
I had embezzled money from where I worked. I was terminated, and it took almost 13 months before the knock came at the door. State police.
I have seen people not even old enough to get into the casinos who are already hooked on video slots. I've seen people in their 70s and 80s, black, white, well-to-do, impoverished, graduate school, not finish high school. I think given the right circumstances, almost anyone could get hooked on slots.
In 1985, slot machines were legal in 2 states, New Jersey, and Nevada. Today, 40 states raise revenue through 800,000 electronic gaming machines. 1 for every 395 Americans.
I believe that allowing resort casinos to operate in Massachusetts has real benefits to working people, to cities and towns, and to the tourism sector.
The taxpayers are paying for these new addicted gamblers, like drug addiction, these new bankruptcies, these new crimes, and the suicides, the potential suicides as people lose their money, the new spousal abuse, the new child abuse. It's just a litany of social costs.
State-sponsored gambling is an essential corruption of democracy because it violates the most basic premises that make democracy unique, that you're in this together. That's what a compact of citizens is. And the first step away from it is to play each other for suckers. We're going to trick them into thinking that they're going to get rich and they're really going to be paying my taxes.
I'm probably the last person on earth for whom suicide is a reasonable solution to anything. I'm not a suicidal type. Just not something I would consider doing, and yet I did. It was very much a possibility. It was very much something I was considering.
This person who's gambling, who's playing our slot machines, ultimately, I'd like to view this as a form of entertainment. I'd like to give them a entertaining experience back to them.
It is like cancer. It doesn't care how much money you have. It doesn't care what your background, your ethnicity is, whether you go to church or you don't, whether you have an education or you don't. You know, there but for the grace of whoever your God is, right? You could be me.